Hi, everybody. This is Anthony Hines. For the last 40 plus years, I've been trying to help people with their job search, trying to help people with their career. Um, Tonight, we're going to have a great discussion regarding job search and how to get a job in this really, really challenging environment. Again, who am I? I'm a person that's been helping job seekers for the last um, 15 years plus, as well as before I was put into transition myself. But I'm here. I'm here to help you, and we're here to give people some ideas of how to get moving, how to get access, and how to get a great job. Jamie, you're here. That's great. I can see you.
Hey,
Here. Janice, you're ready to go. I want to see if any other people show up in this event before I release you. Jamie, Janice is one of my people. She just got a great job, and I invited her to be able to tell people how my podcast helps others. And I think
nice.
Janice reached out to you, right, Jamie?
Yes, I believe it's been a little bit though, right?
Right? Hi, Jamie. Yeah, I took advantage of your free 15-minute consult. It was awesome. Thank you.
That's
Boy,
right. Yeah,
you're
that was a while ago, I think, right? How I forgot when that was, but I mean, obviously I've called a lot of people, but I know it was probably a little bit ago, right?
Right. Right. I couldn't say exactly, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone's listening now, but it's a great opportunity, folks, to meet with
It,
Jamie and get some one-on-one, you know.
yeah, I always tell people it's like, people have this bad kind of, this bad kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of have an attitude that's not a great attitude towards career coaches, right? Because there's a lot of not so good ones out there, and I get it. There's a lot of scammers too out there, right? And they're hesitant to sometimes just have a discovery call because they feel like it's going to be all about selling what I do, my services, things like that. And I try to tell people like that's really not the goal of the call. Like the goal is to obviously tell people what I do and see if there's any way I can help, but it's also to just review your resume, learn a little bit more about you. It's a nice way to break up the monotony of applying to jobs all the time. It's just nice to talk to somebody and not feel like you're being sold on something and really just it's really just all it is a call to get to know people better. And I try to encourage people that all the time. And, you know, some people just feel like that it's going to be a way to just try to buy into a service. I'm like, no, of course, I would love to help out and I'd love to be somebody's career coach. And I work with many people, but that's not what the call's about. It's just taking a chance and understanding what I can help with your resume review and see if there's an opportunity if I can help you out. Right. It's really what it comes down to.
I can vouch for that, Jamie. I don't
Thank
feel
you.
like there was no hard sales pitch. There was nothing like that. I mean, we had a great conversation, and you gave me some feedback on my LinkedIn and my resume, and the 15 minutes flew by. It was great. Thanks.
Yeah, it always does. It goes a little bit longer sometimes than that too, and that's
It
just how it
did.
is. But
It
I
did,
mean,
and that was very
yeah.
generous of you. So
So
yeah,
what are you doing now?
I
What are you doing for work?
I have been looking for work for the last 4 months, going on 5 months, and I've been using
Oh,
a lot of Anthony's tips, and I just accepted a job offer on yesterday.
oh, yesterday. Wow, congrats.
Yeah.
Are you able to share yet the job, or you want to kind of keep it hush hush until you actually start?
Let's see. I took the drug test today. It's no issue. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'm an IT data architect. Um,
Hi.
so yeah, I mean, I used a lot of the tips that maybe Anthony's going to go over tonight. Becoming a subscriber. Casting a wide net. Um, making a lot of personal connections. My neighbors, my um, volunteering, going to meetups and, in virtual and in person, checking out the organizations I belong to. I'm also a project manager, so my PMP, my Project Management Institute. Yeah, I just did a lot of great things, and grateful
Amazing.
to Anthony for his guidance and help along the way.
I,
And
I beat her up. I beat her up. It's really bad. I kick her butt. Jamie, you should hear me. I tell her to be quiet all the time. I tell her shut up. Short version. I always I tell her give her the short version. Give her the greatest hits. Don't give him the box set. You know what I mean? I'm all over it. I'm the anti Jamie. Jamie's the one who gives you the nice. I'm like the bad. I'm the bad cop. Jamie's the good cop. But
right,
I have this group of people that come back all the time to me, and they always hit me up when they're out, and they say, "Okay, Anthony," because they know what I'm going to give them. I'm going to give them rapid fire tips of what's
Yep.
happening, but I'm going to kind of hit them with the white glove. You know what I mean? Like snap out of this. Don't worry about it. We're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to do this. Right, Janice? I give you the white glove. I don't
um,
hit you with the anvil. I hit you with the white glove, the feather, right?
yeah, you keep it real, Anthony, for sure. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
mincing
Well,
words. Anthony will tell you how it is, and that
well, you
might
know,
be exactly what you need to get yourself in motion, especially when you first get laid off, or you first get out of school. Like, you're enjoying it maybe for a little while, and then you realize you need to, get it into high gear, and then you get disappointments, and it gets a little discouraging. And then Anthony's there to pick you back up and dust you off and say, "Now go back out there."
Yep.
well,
That's what
Yeah,
we do.
the reality is, Janice, what's different right now is there are so many scammers and so many people that will hurt you when you're
maybe
out there.
there are some. I mean, I can tell you that I applied for no less than seven. Seven would be an understatement. Jobs a week. And I think that amounts to 200 jobs over the last 5 months, and there was only one scammer. I don't think it's usual. There might be more coming up in the future, but there was only one bot that tried to scam me.
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure it was to sell resume services. Like, they're like, let me look at your resume. Oh, this resume is never going to pass. The format, you're never going to get any hits with this resume. You
Yeah,
need our services or
yeah,
something like that. And I just
yeah,
called BS on that. And
yeah.
but
While
only one out of
Keystone,
200 for me. I mean,
yes,
what a
yes, yes, to an extent, and I agree with that, and I will always say that you still there are times when the resume does need some working on, right? That's what I do, right? I do the resume writing for people, I do the interview practice, I do the LinkedIn session, right? There are times where sometimes applicant tracking systems might not read it correctly, right? Or it might need your resume might need tweaking. It all just depends on everybody's
Yeah.
situation,
But
right? I mean,
Jamie, it was an
everybody's
actual bot. It was an actual bot.
Oh,
It was a
oh,
fake
that's different.
It
Yeah,
was
that's
it
totally
was a
different.
legitimate company, but a fake employee at the company using the company logo. It had,
Wow.
ooh,
it had a
wow,
profile picture of a person that looked a lot like me, but not me. But you know what I mean, the type of person
Yeah.
like me. And it had it had a profile. I checked the profile before I responded. I don't just respond to anybody who inboxes me on LinkedIn. And it the questions were reasonable, and then at some point I realized it was a bot, and then all the messages disappeared and the person disappeared off of LinkedIn, and I
Wow.
reported it to LinkedIn.
excellent, Jamie. What's going on in the world? What are you seeing before I start with tips? What are you seeing out there? I'm seeing
Well,
people getting jobs, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you this, two of my clients just recently got jobs within the last week, so that's exciting. I don't want to say people's names because they haven't announced it. One person's announced it. I helped this lady named Aubrey. She just got a job as a workplace coordinator for CBRE, which is a pretty big company. I helped build her resume, and she ended up getting an interview with this company, and she nailed down the interview and got a job just a few days ago. So that's exciting. And then another guy who I worked with, I'm not going to say his name because he hasn't announced it yet. He's going to announce it on Friday. I did his resume and helped him with interview practice, and he just got a job as a director of benefits for a really big company, which I'm super excited for him to announce it on Friday. And these are both clients of mine, so I mean, there's people out there getting jobs, and hiring is starting to pick up again, which is great. That's what it's about now, hitting the ground running in 2025, setting yourself up for success, setting goals of how many jobs you want to apply for every day, and kind of just making the most of your time, right? And we have I see Devin's in here. What's going on, Devin? I had a call with him. We had a discovery call earlier. We haven't worked with each other yet, but I see he just said that he had a great interview last week, might have a job, but he's going through a bit of a process. He should find out this week and be able to tell people. And look at Jamie helped give me tips on my resume, and that helped a lot. I appreciate that. Devin, good luck. I hope you do get this job, and I hope that the beginning of 2025 is a great start for you, and you can make an announcement soon as well. And there's somebody else in here who's a LinkedIn user. I can't see who their profile is because it looks like they're private on here. Do you see, Anthony, who that person is?
No, I'll just call him LU for now because that's all. That's their name, LU, until they open up. But Devin has been talking to me off and on, and the reality with him is he's getting a lot of confidence, Jamie, because I'm pounding him in my videos and my podcast. See, Janice gets the podcast stuff, so she gets pounded with confidence stuff where she walks into all the interviews strong because she keeps hearing, you're great, you get it, you're strong, you're confident, you know what you're doing, you're all set, you know what's happening, you're going to kill this, you're going to be the best, you're going to get it. All that consistent reinforcement quietly makes these people walk in and own the room. It's like it's a WWF wrestler interview where they're just owning the room and they're pointing to the camera and they're like killing it because they get it. And there is you see, Jamie, in my world, there is no please, 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 like Hans Gruber and Die Hard, right, on the roof. Please, please, please give me the job. No, 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 no. We sit there and say, this is why I'm the best. This is why you're the best. This is why you need me. This is what I'll do day one. This is what will happen. Tell them, Jay. Tell them. You do that, don't you?
You talking to me?
Oh,
Janice.
no,
you're
Sorry.
talking to me. I always own the room on the interview, but some people can't handle it. And then I see that it's Dawn Corbin who's the LU, our mystery LU.
Good, Dawn. If you
Yes.
got any question, answer questions. But Jamie, Jamie Edwards, congratulations on your clients. That's now you're up over 90% of your people are getting jobs, correct?
Yeah, close to it. And I've just recently hit over, I got to change my LinkedIn, but I recently crossed over 500 people that I've worked with over the last 2.5 years. So, I mean, it's, it's a tough business to be in, right? Because obviously I would love to see everybody just have jobs, and then, I'm not going to be busy anymore because everybody's working, right? But at the same time too, it just gets to a point where sometimes you just want to have somebody in your corner, right? And not everybody, and I will tell people straight up, like, do you need to have a career coach? No, you don't need to have a career coach. I mean, everybody can eventually find a job if they just know what they're doing and they work hard enough. I mean, look at Janice landed her opportunity just from listening to tips and me helping her with just some resume tips and things like that. But I mean, sometimes it gets to a point where you just want to make things easier, and you want to have somebody in your corner, and you don't want to work with somebody who's, I call a one and done coach, right? Somebody who just helps you with one thing and you never hear from them again. Like, that's not what I do. Everybody I work with, they're stuck with me until they find their next job. So even when we're done with our coaching, this, Anthony, I spend time with people up until they find their next job. So I put recommendations in for them. I help them find opportunities. I continue to follow up with them. It's nice when you don't feel like you're alone and you have somebody on the journey with you. And that's what I take pride in. Right. So, I mean, yeah.
Jamie, tell them about that free spotlight thing that you do. That's wicked awesome too. That's like really great. You
Yeah.
don't promote that enough. That thing is awesome. Tell them.
Yeah. So everybody that I work with, it doesn't matter if you do 1, 2, or 3 coaching sessions with me. I make a spotlight post for them too, which is what most coaches don't do this, right? It's just extra work. I do this because I have a following of over 35,000 people in my network, right? I mean, you have a pretty big following too, Anthony, but yeah, what I do is I make a spotlight post for everybody I work with, and I do it it's an optional thing. So some people want it, some people don't because they just don't want their company maybe knowing that they're looking for work, right? But for those who are actually openly looking for work, I'll make a post all about them personally and professionally, and they'll fill out some information and I'll put together a post for them and I'll ask them for a different picture that I can use for the post. And the goal is to feature them on my LinkedIn page. So all it takes is one person in my network to find them and maybe have an opportunity for them, right? That's really what it comes down to. The number one, right? Anthony, we talk about it all the time. One person to see your worth. So that's a really nice thing. I've been doing, the spotlight post was something that I've been doing since I started jam sessions with Jamie. And the spotlight was part of putting the spotlight on people that I work with so they can get noticed. So yeah, it's something I really enjoy doing. And it's cool because people get to learn about people, not only their professional background, but their personal background too as well. And we got another LinkedIn user. Let's see. It says they have this might be still Dawn, I think maybe. She says her first LinkedIn Live event with Anthony I currently have a career coach through Transition Solutions. I've just started my job search this month. Awesome.
Okay. Dawn, here's the scoop. This is what you do. When you have a career coach through a company that's a transition company, set an agenda with them every month, every meeting, because they're going to talk to you about your family. They're going to talk to you about current events. They're going to talk to you about other things. You set the agenda. You send the agenda before the event. You make sure you stick to the agenda. You make sure that you get information from them because they're going to have people before you and after you. So you make sure you maximize your entire half hour with them or hour. Next, if you apply for a job and it's a job you really want, every time you apply for something you really want, see if that career coach through that company has a contact that can help you get noticed. They don't only pull people out of companies, they put people into companies. They
Right.
have contacts, they know what they're doing. You drive that relationship so that career coach is running around for you. You got me? You got me? So the point is, you make that relationship happen. No sitting there waiting for the dream. The dream is your dream that you're going to create. I hope you hear me, Dawn, and you get that. Jamie, is that something you believe in?
Yeah, 100% believe in. And you got to make sure, I don't know transition solutions. Obviously, I know there's a lot of coaches out there. Hopefully, I'm looking at their website right now. I don't know what they charge, obviously, and whatnot, but, hopefully they do a good job for you. I always try to tell people this, like, not every coach is the same, right? And a lot of them, and maybe Janice has seen this if she's ever looked at career coaches before too, but a lot of them will try to charge like thousands of dollars for their services. Some guy came up to me yesterday, Anthony, and told me that I worked with this gentleman, right? And I helped him find a job. He told me that before he worked with me, there was somebody who reached out to him and said for the low price of $39.99 a month, they would go ahead and help them with their job search. And I'm like, holy cow, in what world do people, think it's okay to charge $4,000 a month for coaching services? That's a month we're talking about. I mean, that's crazy. I drive this, make their head spin.
So
Anthony's going off the rails right now with his comments here.
I do have an experience. So there was somebody that I knew through somebody else who was a resume writer. And I thought, it's time to brush up my resume and LinkedIn profile. And they did offer it at a low, not at a low price. And when you're unemployed, that resonates. So I went ahead with it. And the services just weren't there. Like, they looked at it and they gave me like some very lame, very light feedback. And I said, okay. So we said we were going to do two resumes, one for technical, one for project management, and you're going to do the LinkedIn page. And she says, no, you're going to do that, or that'll be another $200. That'll be another $400. And then I'm like, wait a minute. The package was this much money to do these three things, and the person didn't even touch my resume, like didn't didn't edit it and send it back to me. There was just sort of like some shared Google Doc. So I mean, it kind of, yeah, it kind of puts you off a little bit and makes you wonder. Um, so yeah, Jamie is a real person. He's, you know what I mean. Tony
Jake,
Anthony Hines is a real person. Tony is somebody that I been working with for a couple of years now, because
so
as a contractor, my employment is like,
so
here's a contract, and then looking for my next contract. Go ahead.
Jake, did you ever have Keystone when you did this stuff? Did you ever get Keystone? They're pretty good too in the Boston area. They're really good. But the only reason, as I say, is there anything else you want to share? I'm not sure how many people are actually here, but is there anything else that you wanted to share with anyone
Um,
regarding the
I want to
podcast
say,
or anything,
well,
or the process,
I like the
or why it was?
podcast. I like the podcast. I like subscribing. I like supporting you, Anthony, because like you're not, this is so Jamie, this is Jamie's profession. But for Anthony, this is a side gig that he does to truly help people, because he is he's a caring person. And
Well, you
yeah,
want to know why, Jay? You want to know why?
I'm
Because
happy
when
to support you. $2.99 a month.
when
I check.
the
It's
reason
nothing, and it's a reminder. Oh, okay. Here's a charge for $2.99. That's right. I should call Anthony. I should tell him about my struggles. And you always have something. I
do you know
can't
why,
give you a big
Jimmy?
enough shout out.
Janice, do
Anybody
you know
can.
why? Do you know why, Janice? Because when I was out, I got one interview in 13 months, and the reality was that it was rough,
Oh, Jamie needs
and
to come back in.
right,
Excuse me.
right, and because of that, um,
Yeah, I see
I
that.
know that feeling of um, that feeling when nobody's answering you, and people say they're going to call you, and all this stuff, and they just don't do it, and you're sitting there and you're waiting and you think they're going to be in there. Jamie, you're back.
Thanks.
um, and thanks. But the fact is that when you are alone, you're so alone. And the fact is, people who've never been through it, they don't know what it's like. They say ridiculous things to you, like, "Oh, don't worry, go enjoy your summer. You'll get a job." Like, that's nice. You have a job to go to. You
Right.
know what you're going to, right, Janice? I mean, tell me, you've had people that like say ridiculous things to you, right? Thinking that they're doing you a favor, right?
I have to tell you, I mean, I've been on both sides. I've been a hiring manager too. And you go into LinkedIn and you're bombed with 3,000 resumes. I mean, I could almost share my screen now and show you. It is unbelievable. There's just limited filtering, for the recruiters on LinkedIn to try to find you in the pile. You have to message them. I mean, you have to apply for the job. And if there's any person affiliated, you have to message them. And if you don't, you know, it might be a job you really wanted, especially if you've indicated like it's um, a top employer for you. There has to be, I guess it's part of follow up. there has to be not just applying for the job, but then there has to be reaching out to a person, because the poor recruiters or in hiring managers can't get through the pile. I mean,
Well,
it's hard.
the premise is you cannot be afraid. This is not a high school dance where you wait for somebody to come up to you and ask you to dance. You are the dancer. You are the public dancer, not private dancer, as Tina Turner would say. You're a public dancer, and you're a dancer, and you're driving this solution. And you don't wait for anybody, right, Jay? Right, Jamie?
I never
Right.
attended a dance, but okay.
Right,
Yeah,
No, you got to be
I get you.
proactive. Yeah, you got to be proactive.
I do want to
right.
throw one more thing out that you touched on, Anthony, is that, that I don't know what to call it, discouragement, or, you feel like everybody else is giving you the pat advice, but, it's just not it's just not helpful.
Well,
That
that you'll get
one of
that,
the best
Janice, from
tips.
people. You'll get that from people who've never been through it. They're gonna
Um,
say ridiculous things,
no,
or they're
it's
gonna say things.
awkward.
Yeah,
It's awkward for them too. Like, they don't know what to say. But
right.
what I want to say is, like, one of your best tips was to sign up for LinkedIn Premium and take LinkedIn Learning, right? So you get a rejection or you're feeling down, find a 30-minute class, take it, and then save it to your profile. Put the badge on the profile. You're like, oh, well, what does that have to, time management, or, how to find joy, or, Microsoft Excel, or in my case, Microsoft Fabric, like, do it. Put it out there. Whatever you're interested in. Anything through LinkedIn Learning. And if you look at my profile, guys, I don't know, you'll see probably 60 badges.
Don't care. Go for 61. Very good, Janice. Thank you. But Jamie, I'm gonna pummel you now with 100 questions. So be ready. Give the people the open to work banner speech.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
have
the open to work banner, it needs to be up if you're looking for work. It needs to be out there because sometimes recruiters and hiring managers aren't, they might not be able to find you as easy unless that banner up. That banner triggers in LinkedIn recruiting. I forget what it's called now, LinkedIn recruiting or LinkedIn hiring. Recruiters and hiring managers can actually search for people that are looking for certain types of jobs that have their open to work banner up, right? It's not a sign of desperation. It's not something that, you should be afraid to put up, right? Or be like, oh, why do I have my LinkedIn banner up? It makes me look desperate. Anyone who tells you that obviously isn't with the program because, LinkedIn created that once again as a way for you to get noticed and for people to find you easier. It's the same thing when recruiters put up their hiring banners. The reason they do that is because they want job seekers to be able to find them easier and know that they are actually hiring, right? So you need to wear that with pride. And even though it might not be the most ideal situation, you can use that open to work banner as fuel, as motivation to, once you find a job, to be able to take that down and accomplish something, right? So you need to have it up. And if you're really worried about everybody seeing it, there's a way that you can set up your open to work banner so only recruiters and hiring managers can see it. It helps me too as a career coach, right? When I see people are open to work, I just want to reach out to them and find out if I can help in any way. I want to learn more about their job search. I'm not trying to sell them on something. I just want it's a way for me to start a conversation with them, right? If I don't see your open to work banner up, I have no idea that you're looking for work. And I promise you there's many recruiters and hiring managers that have no idea you're looking for work either. So they're not going to proactively reach out to you. Now, on the flip side, you're going to find that you're going to get a lot of scam artists that reach out to you when you have your open to work banner up too. You're going to get people who are going to pretend like they have opportunities for you and then they want to optimize your resume. Or you're going to find fake bots that reach out to you, like Janice experienced possibly, right? With her situation. That comes with the territory. But the positives outweigh the negatives of having the banner up. And you need to just block out all those naysayers who tell you that your open to work banner is a sign of desperation. You just need to put it up, have it up, and use it as motivation to find your next opportunity.
Right, and that's the way, Jamie, it is, because the fact of the matter is that the more action you take to get visible, and that's clear, Jamie, in using your
It's
profile as your infomercial, right? Your
right, but
profile
that's the problem right there. Like I see Dawn just said, I don't like having that open to work banner up because you get ridiculous requests. You're always going to get ridiculous requests. Doesn't matter whether you have it up or not. You're going to get ridiculous requests. There's going to be fake people on LinkedIn. You just have to block those people and block it out. But when you take that banner down, you're only hurting yourself because you're limiting the good ones that can reach out to you. And that's the truth. That's just how it is. Like I said, it's encouraged to put it up. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but you're only shooting yourself in the foot, Anthony, right?
Right, right. Because the fact is, you have to keep giving yourself ways that people are going to see you. That is the way it is. You have to keep telling yourself, how are they going to see me? What can I do to be like, for instance, now Janice, when she is doing your when she's doing, Janice, when you're doing those updates on your profile to tell people about your education, you're also got a setting telling people your network is going to find out when your profile's updated, correct? So that becomes like a blast, right? Janice just finished this course. Janice just got this
Yeah.
certification. It becomes a
Yeah.
blast,
You
right?
need to edit your profile, I would say every Sunday. Every Sunday night. Edit your profile, and that there's something going on that brings your profile up higher because it's been edited more recently. Some of the other profiles are just sort of languishing further down in the search results. You'll come up in the recruiter search results sooner if you edit, like add a space. I mean, do something. Change something about your profile. Doesn't have to be anything significant. Change one word.
Yeah.
Right, right, right. Because then people will see you, right, Jamie? Isn't
The
Yeah,
that
you
the
know how
way?
recruiter.
sim- you know how simple it is. I mean, if you just change your banner, if you change your profile picture every 3 months, if you change your about me section a little bit, if you change everything, gives your profile a fresh coat of paint. Even just changing your profile picture, you'll be connected to somebody, and all of a sudden you change your profile picture, and somebody looks at your profile that had never seen you before, and they're like, "Holy cow! I've been connected to so and so for the last 3 months, and I never even noticed their profile. Now they made a quick change, and now I notice them a little bit more." That's really what it comes down to with LinkedIn, is always keeping things fresh, and not staying stagnant in certain ways, right? That's how you get noticed, and that's how you keep yourself, that's how you give yourself a fresh coat of paint on your profile.
Jamie, talk about your discovery call a little bit more. People need to understand that this is great free stuff to help them get moving. I mean, again, the spotlight, which I've already said, is wicked awesome because you do it, and that takes a lot of work, and you deserve a lot of credit. Tell them about that discovery call because that's
Sure.
free stuff.
Yeah, so I always encourage everybody, no matter if I work with, no matter if somebody signs up for my services or not, I always require a discovery call, no matter what. There's people who come to me all the time and say, "Well, I want to work with you, Jamie. I know I want my resume done. I want to do interview practice." I'm like, "Well, hold on, we haven't done a free discovery call yet." And the reason I do that call is, it's once again, it's just a way for us to connect on a personal level and see if I can help you out with this, and review your resume for free and give you quick tips and things like that. There's no pressure to sign up for anything. The goal is to learn more about your career background, learn more about the jobs you're targeting, learn more about what it is you feel like you could use the most assistance with. It's to review your resume and just give you some quick tips really quick, and then put together an action plan, where I can try to, where I can try to help you out with my paid services, right? But once again, I meet with people every single day. I do about 5 to 6 discovery calls a day. Not everybody signs up for my services, and that's okay. Some people come back later. Some people want to try certain things, and they want to just kind of see how they can do it on their own. And that's what it comes down to, right? And they're always surprised when I talk about, because Anthony, I offer 3 different services, right? I offer resume writing, interview practice, and LinkedIn optimization. I call it the triangle of job searching, right? If you have a good resume and a good LinkedIn profile, you're going to get more interviews. If you have a good interview, you're going to ultimately land an opportunity, right? That's what it comes down to. So I always tell people, there's, like I said, there's coaches out there who are charging for these discovery calls. They don't do free calls. They don't even do free resume reviews. This is a free call. It normally goes over 15 minutes. Sometimes it goes a half hour. That's okay. My goal is to build trust with the people that I could possibly work with down the line and just give them a good experience and let them see what career coaching entails. And Anthony, you know this, all my services, even if you sign up for all three of my services, it's under $1,000, right? Which I say that because I'm finding coaches out there who are charging thousands of dollars and they're not providing a good service. They're not doing a one-on-one coaching. They're hard to communicate with. They don't do spotlight posts. They don't do 24/7 support when they're done. I offer a lot more for what I do, and you know this. And my pricing is increasing February 1st. But that's just because I know what I bring to the table and I understand what I'm doing right now is better than most coaches are doing at a price that's more reasonable than most coaches offer right now.
Janice, talk about certifications. Tell me about the value of certifications and why people should get them. You're the queen of certifications. Tell me why it's huge.
Yeah, guys. So let's see. So a lot of people have heard of Project Management Institute, the project management professional. The way that I got that actually was through the Department of Unemployment. I said, I need some credentials. I've been a great project manager, but I have no credentials. I think my resume is getting screened out. I can't say I'm a PMP if I'm not. And so actually I went through a whole training program. This is probably, I'm not sure how many years ago, but I got that PMP. It gives you a confidence. It gives you an inner confidence. Like I already knew I was a good project manager. And I got people who would say I was a good project manager, but like to an unknown employer, they want to see, even if it says PMP preferred or PMP sort of, nice to have, they're really looking for the PMP. So I really say, get the certification, certified Scrum Master, Microsoft Fabric architect or associate. Just go for an associate Microsoft and data analytics, or go to AWS. I'm a certified cloud practitioner. Go to Google. I've been through the first 11 classes and got the certification on GCP. I'm in the technical field, so those are the things that make sense for me. But I'm not sure what else I can say about certifications. You do have to keep up your continuing education units, but you can do that through volunteer work. You can do that through conferences, learning. There's a lot of different ways. And if you went through the trouble to study and actually get a certification, like it's worth it to keep your certification current.
Yeah.
Real
You always want
estate,
to, yeah. I mean,
certification. I don't know.
yeah, you always want to keep learning. I mean, you always want to keep learning, keep growing, and things change so much that it's when you have the time to actually get certifications and you're looking for a job and you have more time to do that, you're better off to keep bettering yourself and keep on adding to that list.
Yep.
I will tell you something very personal. When I got my PMP, something came over me because I said to myself, no matter what, nobody can ever take this away from me. And I'm just as good as any other project manager in the world now. And if I go to any country, it's going to be recognized. The reality is, I just, I was, I was just overcome with emotion, and I just sat there and I cried because I just said, wow, something worked for me in this madness. Something worked and nobody can take this away from me. And it's just so important to get something to work for you when you're going through it, because you're punched in the face so much that when something good happens to you, you grab it and don't let it go, because that is your energy to help you to get through this. Because, guys, what's unique about this process is you didn't ask for it to start. You didn't get notice it was going to start. And you also don't know when it's going to end. No matter, there's so much unknown. There's so much, I did this right. I did that right. Why did they do this? Why didn't they call me? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? That's why I always say focus on what you can control, because when you do that, everything else falls into place. Because when you focus on what you can control, you listen to my stuff, you watch my videos, I pound you with confidence. I pound you with telling you it's not you, it's the world. It's not you, it's everybody else. And Jamie does the same thing. Tell him, Jamie, when you work with them, what do you do to build their confidence, to fill their cracks of their confidence, to glue them together? What do you do, Jamie?
It's all about that mindset, right? I mean, mindset is everything. I mean, when I work with people, a lot of those people are down and out, right? They've spent numerous times applying to jobs, are tired of the rejection emails. They've counted how many rejections they've received and how many applications they've applied to and whatnot, right? And my goal is not only just to be a career coach and help them with the resume and the interview and the LinkedIn stuff, but also too to be a motivating factor, right? And get them thinking in a positive light that who cares about those, who cares about those rejection emails, right? Who cares about how many applications you apply to? That doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, the only number that matters is the number one, right? That's getting one yes. That's getting one company to take a chance on you. That's really the only thing that matters. I get tired when I see LinkedIn posts that say 400 applications, 120 rejections. It's like, why are you counting those things? Like those things, when you get a job, do you think back and think to yourself, oh my gosh, 4 months ago, I can't believe I got those 10 rejection emails in a row. No, once you get a job, you're thinking that you got that one yes, right? And it also comes into mindset too. And we talked about it earlier with Janice, was going into an interview like the job is yours to lose, right? Like the fact that you even got an interview, there's so many people that would love to be in those same shoes as you that did not get an interview, right? So you got to go into the interview with confidence. You got to have that swagger, I call it, right? You got to go in with that swagger and jump into that interview thinking to yourself, look, they chose me out of all these people. I need to let them know why I'm the best fit for this role and how I'm going to be able to make an impact if they hire me, and that there's nobody else that matters right now. I don't care who my competition is. It's me against me right now, and I need to show them why I'm the best person, right? So that's really what I work on with a lot of the people I work with, is that confidence boost. I make sure that I'm available anytime, whether it's calling, texting, emailing me before an interview, and really being able to pump them up and getting that confidence, right? Confidence is everything. If you don't have confidence and you're going in nervous and you're wondering, oh, do I really have what they're looking for? Do I have all the experience they need? Da 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 da. Stop second guessing yourself. You're good. It's like that Saturday Night Live. It's that Saturday Night Live skit with Stuart Smalley, if you remember. He used to say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me, right? And that's what it comes down to. You got to have that mentality.
Is there anybody who'd like to have questions? I'm not sure how many people are actually here. Why don't you chat? If you have questions, you can bring them up. Put them in the chat, because we'll just keep talking if people don't bring questions. So don't let me just keep babbling through this whole thing and not ask for questions. So
yeah, I got to jump off a little bit early, 5 minutes here. I got to finish making dinner for my daughter and whatnot. But yeah, if anyone has questions, please. I don't know. Does it show you on Restream how many people are actually in here or not?
I don't see many, but here's the deal, Jamie. The difference between LinkedIn Live events and LinkedIn audio events, this will go up on my profile and it will be there for people to see it. And so, whether people are here right now, they're going to see what we're talking about. They're going to hear what we're talking about. That's why in the chat, I put the link regarding your discovery call. I put my LinkedIn, my YouTube page. I put my podcast, because the reality is, LinkedIn Lives are more non-interactive, and people check them out as they come about instead of everybody being there for the event. So it's sort of a ripple effect. So that's what
Yeah.
I get. I know there was a couple of people. I know that we've gotten like 40 people signed up, but as I say, I'm not really sure who we got. What are the best job boards, Jamie?
I mean, your usuals are still going to be the best. I mean, I still think LinkedIn is one of the better ones, but I mean, Indeed's a really good one. I like Monster, Zip Recruiters are good ones too. Sometimes there's postings on different job boards that just LinkedIn doesn't have. But I always encourage people this, like if you ever go on LinkedIn and you see the option for easy apply, I always recommend to try to bypass the easy apply and go through the company's website directly and apply for a job directly. A lot of times when you apply through the career page of a company versus doing easy apply on LinkedIn, you have a better chance of your resume getting noticed through the company's portal than through LinkedIn's easy apply portal. That's just a quick tip I like to talk about because I know a lot of times you'll apply on LinkedIn, you'll see over 200 applicants, over 300 applicants, right? And if you apply directly through the company's website, sometimes it's a different, it goes through a different portal and a different process, and they might be more prone to seeing your resume. But I like Indeed, I like Monster, I like Zip Recruiters, another good one too. There's also job boards that are good if you're targeting specific types of jobs, like project management jobs, government jobs, things like that. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I have a list of them that I like to talk about from time to time.
Yeah.
Jamie, what about some of the ones that you don't recommend? Is there any that you don't recommend?
I don't think there's any I don't recommend, to be honest with you. I mean, everyone's got their own, like, I don't think there's any I don't really recommend, honestly. I mean, they all they're all supposed to do the same thing, right? You apply and you go someplace, but like the ones that I feel like are better than others is just because they have more ways to search for types of jobs. They have more options. There's more employers on these websites, right? Like Indeed, there's a ton of employers that just use that specifically for their jobs. So I wouldn't say there's any bad ones necessarily, but I mean, there's definitely ones that are better than others.
Right, 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 right. What about, Jamie? What about old jobs? Are there ones that have old jobs that you found that jobs are just not even worth applying?
I mean, that could be said for any job board. Like LinkedIn recycles jobs a lot. I mean, if you see LinkedIn, sometimes you'll see the same jobs posted 2 or 3 times, and you're like, what the heck? I applied for this job like 3 months ago and I got rejected and it still hasn't been filled, right? That's going to happen with all job boards. Like sometimes like a lot of job boards, there's timed things where like the job will go up for a certain amount of days and then it'll come down and it'll repost in a couple days. Sometimes companies don't even take down the job. Sometimes even when they find somebody, they forget to take down their job. It's frustrating, right? These are things that job seekers are going through every single day. As what are real jobs? What are ghost jobs? What are the types of jobs that companies are posting that are actually real versus fake? There's a lot of fake jobs out there where companies post a job that's not even open as a means to just get a bunch of applications and see what people are applying to, right? It's just a tough market out there right now, and there's so much that job seekers can only control. And that's what I say all the time is like, you can only control what you can control. You can control how many jobs you apply to. You can control your mindset and your attitude, right? But you can't control what other companies do. You can't control ageism. You can't control companies who don't post the salary, right? I mean, these are things you can't control, unfortunately. So you just got to take the good with the bad.
Jamie, let me ask you this. I see a lot of recruiters looking for work. What happens when a recruiter has 10, 20 jobs and a bunch of people in the pipeline, and all of a sudden they lose their job? How does that all get transferred to other people? What do the companies do in that case?
You mean if like somebody loses their job and they're hiring for certain jobs?
Yeah, they're the recruiter. and for a company, and the recruiter has 5 recruiters, right? That each recruiter has their own job and their own people, their own
Right.
contacts. What happens if one of those people get bounced? How does that work inside the company where the other 4 people get the work? What happens in that
Normally
case?
when if a recruiter is hiring for certain types of jobs and a recruiter gets laid off and they have job openings to fill, normally the company will look at the jobs that they were trying to fill, and they're going to divvy up the jobs based on which recruiter they feel like is going to be the best person to handle it at that point, right? And then what happens is all the applications will go to that recruiter, and then they'll be the ones that obviously take it over. It's kind of a it's kind of a crapshoot, honestly, because you don't know. None of the recruiters really know which jobs they're going to be taking over. But I will say the applications don't just go in a black hole. They're going to go to somebody else at that point, and hopefully that person will reach out with the opportunity. But it gets divvied up between the team based on their workload and who would be the best fit, who is the best recruiter to handle that type of job that's being filled.
Now, I'm sure you've been on the edge of that. Is that like really stressful when somebody drops a bunch of jobs in your head and says, "Here, you got these on your head already. Here's another X amount of jobs in your head." Talk about the stress level from the recruiter perspective a little bit, Jamie, because you've been there. Some people like they pound recruiters. They think they're out to get them. They think all this craziness. Talk a little bit about the feelings, the person aspect of being a recruiter. Talk about that.
Sure. Yeah. I see Devin asked a question, or Suzanne's in here too. I think she asked a question. I didn't see her question here, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, a recruiter, it's a tough job to be a recruiter these days. It's tough to be a hiring manager. It is. You get a lot of flack from people, because they don't follow up on time. They don't do this. They don't provide feedback, stuff like that. Right. But, really as a recruiter, right? I mean, yeah, it's a stressful job. It really is. I mean, think about how many applications are coming through, how many applications need to be screened, how many resumes need to be screened, right? There's just a lot that goes into it. And you're right, they're getting bombarded with recruiters. What do they actually do? Okay. Yeah, they're being bombarded with requests and messages from people and emails and, oh, what's going on with this? But really, a lot of times recruiters sometimes make it even harder on themselves than they have to be. Like the thing with a recruiter is they have a job to do too, right? Like if they tell somebody that they're going to follow up with somebody by this date, they should stick to that. The hardest part from a job seeker is that they feel like they are just a number sometimes, and good recruiters will make candidates feel like they're human beings versus feeling just like they're a number. And Janice can probably attest to this, as a hiring manager maybe and whatnot. But like, there's good ones and there's not so good ones, right? And when recruiters say they're going to do something by a certain date, they really got to try to hold to that, because it really makes you lose your credibility. If you say you're going to follow up by a certain time and then you never hear from that, you never get back to that person, you ghost them, it just looks bad from a company standpoint. It ruins your credibility. It ruins trust between you and that candidate. And it's a trickle down effect. But no doubt, it's a tough job being a recruiter and a hiring manager. You've got a lot on your plate to try to find the right people for certain jobs.
So Jimmy,
Look at Suzanne's question,
yeah,
Jamie. See what you can answer that before you go make dinner and do what's important.
She says, I
You see
always
her
hear
question?
I always hear it's your time to interview the interviewer as well. Everyone is putting their best foot forward, but you want to see the real deal as best as possible. What is your suggestion to see through? I think I understand that question. So like, you're right. You definitely need to interview. They're not only interviewing you for the job, you're obviously interviewing them to make sure it's a good fit on both ends, right? When you say see through, my understanding is you're probably wanting to make sure that you can, if I understand correctly, maybe you're saying to see through to make sure it's that the person you're interviewing with is legitimate and they're really looking out for your best interest too as well. And that's a real interview. I mean, all you can really do is ask, you need to ask questions at the end. You need to make sure you're asking enough questions at the end of the interview to really understand the company's values, to really understand that this is the opportunity for you. But the questions that you're asking at the end, they need to be based off of how the overall interview is going, right? You can chime in during the interview process and you can jump in and ask something if you want to clarify something. You want to make sure that the company knows that you're taking notes on things, right? And that you're taking notes. Like I always recommend that people say before the interview starts that if you see me looking down, it's not because I'm not creating eye contact with you. It's because I'm taking my own notes as well. And I want to make sure that I have everything written down in case I need to bring up anything at the end or I need to review my notes at the end of the interview, right? Like that, Anthony, you know this, right? Interviews are meant to be a conversation and not an interrogation, right? They should be a two-way conversation, not an interrogation.
Janice, how many times have I told you that? It's ingrained in your brain, right? Interviews are a conversation, right?
Sure.
So let's get to E. Dunlap. Sir, regarding what does it take to be a recruiter, it takes patience, it takes organization, it takes the ability to really manage your time, it takes talent, and it takes a great ability to want to help people. Jamie, I answered that for you because
I think all those things you're right. I mean, it does take a hell of a lot of patience. It does take a heck of a lot of organization. You're right. You got to be very good with time management. You've got to be able to review a bunch of resumes in a limited amount of time. You've got to obviously you are the person who is ultimately holding the keys to the job possibly, right? Or to the hiring manager, right? And it's on you. If you make a bad hire, and you don't hire the right person, ultimately it can come back to you because you're the one who ultimately interviewed that person, and got that person into their role, right? So, I mean, it does take a lot to be a recruiter. Not everybody can be a recruiter. It's a very patient, but it's very rewarding too as well. The fact that you get to help place people in jobs and you get to be the person who changes somebody's lives, basically, you're pretty much a life changer. Right? You are. I mean, that's really what it is. And, but you have to be a good recruiter because one day if you find yourself laid off and you're on the candidate side of things, everybody that you ever ghosted and everybody that you ever kind of misled and certain things like that, you might get at the same thing from another recruiter. And then you get to really see what it's like being on that end. So I always encourage recruiters to really be the person that they want to be and see themselves in in candidates' shoes.
Jamie, last question. Then you got to get out of here. Last question. If two people are tied at the end and one is certified and one is not, does that matter to you?
It's a good question. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take the person who I feel like is going to be the best fit. This is going to sound really silly, but what also matters too is if I have two people if I have two people who have who I really feel like are top candidates and I can't decide who is the right person, if one person sends a thank you email and the other person doesn't send a thank you email, that could be a big deciding factor too. Like I always say you should send a thank you email right after an interview. I mean, it's common, it's courtesy, right? But yes, certifications do matter. If it comes down to two people, I try not to let education get in the way of things, but obviously if somebody's got their master's versus somebody's got a bachelor's, I mean, that could be a big deal too. But I mean, ultimately it's going to come down to who I feel like is going to be the best fit for to do the position and who's going to be the best fit for the culture of the current team that I'm managing, right? The current team. Culture is a huge thing. All it takes is one bad egg to bring down the entire culture of a team. And you want to make sure that the person you're bringing in is going to mesh with the current team that you have.
Janice, the hiring manager in the past, one is certified, one is not. Did that matter to you?
Yeah, what matter? I'd like to see certifications. A lot of people are inflating their resumes. I can say that after looking at the 3,000 of them. I'm not sure. I've hired 3 people this year, 3 data engineers. I can see an AI resume from a mile away. And I look for inconsistencies. AI makes mistakes. If you haven't bothered to double check all your facts, you can't just put the job description in there and have it redo your resume. I mean,
Nope.
it won't hold up past me anyway.
It won't hold
Um,
up past me either. I mean, it's, yeah, I can tell, I know a lot of coaches who use strictly AI to build resumes. And I'm like, look, you're doing yourself an in-service. Like, yeah, you're taking the cheap way out and that's what you're doing. And you can sense it from a mile away, and companies can see it now, and they have programs to use where they can see it. What? Yeah, say hi. There you go. Say hi. Yeah. Yes, I always make sure that I get ideas, and AI is good for ideas. But you should be writing everything. I always do it by hand. I do everything but from a human being perspective, and I think that holds a lot more merit. And like you said, Janice, you can sniff an AI resume from a mile away. I feel like more and more recruiters and hiring managers are able to see that as well.
the AI embellishes whatever you're putting out there. So that's just a warning. And then as far as certifications, like you're talking to the certification queen, right? So yes, I think the certification matters. You don't know what
Certification
keywords
loyalty.
they're gonna pick up
Come on.
on. You should see my resume. I
I'll be
mean,
out for a sec.
Yeah.
I'm
But
I'm hitting it
but
on all aspects, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, you should. Jamie, I'm gonna let you go. You have things to do. We're gonna hang out on the 28th. How about that, buddy?
Yeah, that sounds good. And if anybody wants to set up, like I said, Dawn, I know you're working with somebody right now. If for some reason you feel like it's not a good use of your time and you want to have a discovery call with me, I'm happy to at least have a conversation. I don't know how much you paid, obviously, to work with the person you're working with, but I would love to at least just have a free call with you and anybody else who's on this call. If I've never met with you already, please get on my calendar. Anthony puts the link in his in the event page, and I also have my link on the top of my page as well. And I'd love to Janice already told you it was a good use of her time, and I would love to at least meet more people and see if there's any opportunity that I can help you with.
Yep, it's
Great.
free. Do it.
Do it. Okay, Jamie, thank you for your time. I'm gonna stay here for a couple of minutes. Janice, thank you for your time. I'm gonna
Thanks,
throw a
Anthony. I'll
lot
talk to you in a couple of weeks. All right, bud.
You're
back
welcome.
on.
You're
All right.
welcome,
So
everybody. Take care. Have a good evening. Thanks, Anthony.
um, okay, guys, I'm gonna stay for a couple of minutes because I'm gonna give some more tips and tools for people direct. Um, okay, guys, my guests are gone. Here's what you got to do to get a job. Okay, let's go. You want to get a job? You do this. Number one, you make sure that when you volunteer, you put that in your LinkedIn profile. Because when you get a job, many companies are loving people that have community involvement. Because when the 6 o'clock news shows up and you're there at the community event wearing a t-shirt from the company, the person that they hired that likes community involvement is going to make the company look good. So stress community involvement, stress your volunteering, stress your development in what you've been doing, stress how you're special, stress how you're talented, stress your experiences and how you're going to bring value day one. Stress the fact that you're not waiting for someone else to drive your career, that you are taking complete control of everything you can in your job search. Stress that when you're in your interview. If you have a Zoom interview, make sure you have a background that has books. If you watch television and you see interviews on TV, you're going to see bookcases behind the people doing the interviews or getting interviewed. That is something I want you to do. It shows you're learning, it shows you're learned, it shows you're educated, and it's what professionals do in those settings. Make sure you do that. If you have a Zoom interview and you have notes, put them in front of you on the wall above your computer. Put the fonts at a certain level so that all your fonts show you the highest level of things that you want to say. Font 30 are things you don't want to miss. Font 5, font 11 are things that are secondary. Lay those notes out so everything's in front of you so you have the advantage. That way, you know what you're going to say and you never look back and say, oh, I should have said this. No, 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 no. Notes organized in front of you on the wall. Next, keep a notebook near your phone. Why? When you apply for a job, you're going to write notes on every job you apply for. You're going to get called every once in a while by people out of the blue that saw your resume that they thought an interview was set up for you. And they mistakenly called and you were never given that information. It happens. If you got someone on the phone, you don't let them go. What you do is you have that notebook and you say, oh, company ABC, I applied for that job 2 weeks ago. I have some notes on that job. Let's look at it right now. You took the notes. You show why that you're very good for the job. You have it. How organized do you look? If you have that information and the hiring manager or the recruiter or whoever called you was not organized. Those are things that you can control that make you look good. Think about this, okay? You must be organized in your job search. Next, negative people. Get rid of negative people. You need your energy for yourself. Diminish access to negative people. Make it happen. They're taking your energy. You need your energy for you. It's your time. It's your development. It's your period of life where you got to set your goal. You're not waiting on anyone. If they're negative and they don't support you, you don't have time for them. Make an adjustment. Diminish access to negative people. Next, professional events and professional organizations. Make sure that you are a member of whatever professional organization you have. You attend their events, and you also organize their events. Be a volunteer at those events. Be active in those events. Then, when you meet people at the event, get a list of all the people who attended that you just met. Go home, reach out to them, and link to them. Link to every one of them. Because when you apply at a job, that all these people are working at and they're part of your professional organization, they're going to help you get a job because they're going to get a referral bonus. So work with them and get them and link to them and remind them they met you and all that stuff and get a link to them. And then when you apply in their companies, you send them a job. Hi, great meeting you at the event. I just applied for this job. Could you please pass my name on to HR and recommend me if possible? Why wouldn't they? They're going to get a referral bonus if you get hired. So why wouldn't they recommend you? So that's how you get access to people inside of companies. Next, every day could be the day you get hired. Let's not diminish this. Your mindset when you start each day is today is your day. Today is the day that it can happen for me. It only takes one yes. Stop looking at how many applications you filled out. Stop looking at all of the other numbers that don't matter. What matters is one company giving you a chance, one company giving you a hope, one company believing in you. That is your objective. Find the one company that believes in you. That's what you must do. Next, government jobs. You hear all this talk on TV and radio about government jobs, blah, 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 blah. People are retiring at a record numbers from the government. People that are working in GSA and various departments. There, go to usajobs.gov. You don't even need a college degree. Start applying for government jobs. There is also a program out there, and it's on the web. I'm not sure where it is, teaching you how to apply for a government job. There are certain things you should do, how to do it. Take that course if you can, and try to apply for government job. It does take time, and it could take time, but guess what? If it's out there, you're looking at other things. Again, it only takes one. And the fact is, when you've got a lot of options, that's what you do. Next, the unemployment numbers come out every month. Go into those numbers. Look and see where in your area they're looking for your skills. Is it something that your area is looking for? Like if you're a project manager, is there a big need for project management? If there are, that's good. The fact is, if you are movable, transferable, and you move, guess what? You got to see the data to see where the jobs are. You don't want to be moving aimlessly. Look at the data. Look at the unemployment data. See where the jobs are. Plan if you're moving to move to a place that looks for your skills. Next, my final answer. Develop yourself. Every class you take, you put it on your profile. You make sure your profile tells everyone when you update it. You go into your profile once a week. You add some articles. You add a post. You add things. If you want to get somebody's attention, go to the interests in their LinkedIn profile. See what they're about. See what they love. Find an article. Send them the article of something they love. And I swear to you, there's a better chance they'll get back to you. Look at the interests. Look at things that people love. There's a better chance they'll get back to you. Guys, I put um, information about my podcast. I have subscribers. It's $2 a month. It's going to give you a ton of information drilled into you to help you to stay confident. Right here is my YouTube page, hundreds and hundreds of videos to help you stay good, strong, confident. You're great. You're experienced. You matter. You're part of your own solution. You're special. You deserve a great job. You deserve a great job. This is not something you wait for anyone. You deserve it. So, with that, guys, I'm going to end this LinkedIn Live, and I'm going to look for feedback, and I'm going to hope that people spread the word. Our next event will be the 28th, that you can come and you can listen, because these are great. They're interactive, and they're really special. So, everybody have a great day. Please stay safe and well. I'm going to say it. Happy New Year. I don't care if it's the 14th of January. Happy New Year. Have a safe and healthy New Year. We're here to help you get a job. I hope you found this LinkedIn Live to be useful and helpful. Please put some comments. Please give me some feedback. And please spread the word, because we're going to have more of these. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.